Thank you for joining us at the Gals and Gear Happy Hour demo and fabulous wrap-up to NAB Show New York. How are you doing? All right, that was a little less than enthusiastic. Let me get a little bit more from you. Okay, that is so much better. Thank you for joining us. I know that the last hour of the last day of the show is sometimes an hour you don't necessarily want to be under the big lights, but I think you're going to really enjoy hearing from these fantastic experts, and I hope that we'll put a slightly different lens on AI than perhaps the brooding, dark underside that everyone likes to talk about. So without further ado, let me introduce, to my immediate right is Carole Pigeard. She's the Director of Global Sales from Newsbridge. Welcome.
Thank you.
And just to my right again is Sepi Motamedi. She's the Professional Broadcast Global Marketing Lead for NVIDIA. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Amy.
Thank you. And I will say that shout out to Dell, NVIDIA, and Newsbridge for providing the beverages. So that requires applause. Yes, please. Yes. We wouldn't be able to do any of the kinds of networking events, educational events, outreach events, and student events that we do with Gals and Gear if we didn't have great sponsors. So we very much appreciate their support.
Hashtag Gals and Gear is a movement, bringing parity to women in media and entertainment. We amplify, train, and support women in screen media through educational, mentoring, public speaking, and networking opportunities. Our partners are manufacturers, broadcasters, producers, distributors, and other industry leaders who want to improve representation by empowering women. We are hashtag Gals and Gear.
So before we jump into the AI topic directly, just let me ask each of you, starting with you, Sepi, what is one trend that you've been seeing in the industry that is really exciting? It could relate to AI, but maybe it doesn't.
It is going to relate to AI.
Okay, that's cool.
I think just the broad usage of AI that we're seeing today is really exciting. AI has been around for some time, but just the number of products that it's been incorporated in, the number of businesses that have started providing AI solutions, that's a really exciting trend to see. Also, the impact that it's having on storytelling is really exciting to see. You know, the access that it's giving to creatives to be able to do particular things, and also the access that it's giving to audiences who are consuming content is really special to see, whether it's, you know, more personalized or it's in a language you speak in or, you know, subtitled. So all of that together is a wonderful trend to see coming.
That's absolutely true, and I'm seeing that a lot. I work so much in nonfiction, and so, you know, making sure that we're reaching all the audiences that we need to reach, making sure that we're reaching blind audiences or hearing impaired audiences. I mean, there's just so many audiences that used to be kind of skipped over, and now a lot of that can be embedded in your broadcast, so that's fantastic. And what about you, Carole?
Well, we have noticed few trends. I will pick three of them, not only one. One is consistency, really from acquisition to delivery. There are scarcity between departments, and what will happen in media is that in linear or non-linear departments, people will tag or log differently, and then it doubles the time for everybody to search or find content. So that's really one of major one, is how we fix that, how we provide consistency to those departments. The second one will be portability of those metadata. So when you generate them, often we're asked, how can I use them? Can I put them in another MAM? Can I publish it? Can I store it somewhere? So it's really the portability of those metadata that we see. And last but not least, quite related to this show, is contextualized metadata. How do we editorialize those metadata that is not just a noise, it's not a bunch of tags, it's actually relevant for editorial. That's really the three trends we can see coming.
Absolutely, I hear you. And I was teaching some workshops yesterday and the day before, and one of the things I was talking about was, training people how to tag. And a lot of times this, gets to be the sort of lowest common denominator job, but it actually filters up to the biggest budget impact. And I tell a story about how I worked on a show with a client who wanted to showcase like all of their board members, a high-profile political figures that they had been meeting with and networking with, et cetera. And they were like, we absolutely know that our chair of the board, had this big handshake with Hillary Clinton on stage. Why can't you find it? And, I'm looking at literally days worth of footage from an event like this with no indication of what hour of what day any footage or photo was. I finally, after about 3 days of looking, I did find a photo, and it was tagged 2 blonde women shake hands. So, like, the people doing your tagging have to know stuff. They have to know your context. They have to know the content. They have to think about maybe somebody else wanting to use that content. And so that's what we're going to get to talk about today. So I'm very excited about that. So, Sepi, let me start with you on what NVIDIA has been doing. I mean, obviously, you're known as a hardware enabler for the gaming industry, but it turns out that those same, heavy-duty GPUs that support gaming are just the kind of chips that can handle heavy-duty math of machine learning. So what computing resources are now available for creatives in media and entertainment? You'd mentioned the sort of creative side, who want to use that power of generative AI to do something creative.
Sure. So, yes, the best hardware for AI processing is a GPU. It's because it does parallel processing, and it does it at enormous scale, which you would need for AI because you're processing an enormous volume of data. And so NVIDIA has built an entire platform for AI. It's the most advanced platform in the world. And at the base layer of it, it has accelerated infrastructure. So this is, our GPUs combined with partner hardware like Dell, for instance, in terms of workstations and servers and networking technologies. It can go from individual workstation to supercomputers. That's the accelerated infrastructure layer. There's a software layer called AI Enterprise. And then on top of that are all of our different services and models, including for generative AI that can be explored. We have frameworks for large language models like NeMo, which is our cloud native model for building, customizing, deploying LLMs. We have Picasso, which is a foundry for image generation. So this is, images, 3D models, 360 HDRIs, and there are a whole slew of SDKs and frameworks that we provide as part of this overall platform. And anyone can really participate in this platform at any one of those layers. And we also have Launchpad, where we have labs for anyone to take for free to learn more about AI and to really just get started on that AI journey. So we've really built an entire ecosystem of services and trainings and tools that really anybody can take advantage of to build and deploy these kinds of solutions.
Right. And we're going to be talking later about making some links on the TechWitty Hub so people can find those easily. Would you help us by demoing a case study that I actually got to see at IBC, and I was super excited about it because I did a lot of theater back in the day, and it kind of relates to theater a little bit. So can you? Perfect.
Yes. So this, is it going to show up here? Is it?
Just say roll the video.
Roll the video from NVIDIA, please. So I'm actually going to be showing 2 demos. The first one is we're going to be generating a virtual studio through a text-to-image generation using Stable Diffusion. So we're putting in an input, we're putting in a prompt on what we want to see, and we're going to get really specific with the look that we want to see. So we're using a lot of hardwood, and there's going to be a lot of window, and we're basically just putting as specific a prompt as possible, what kind of lighting we're looking for. And we've mentioned, again, that we want to have a TV studio. So then we are going to, once we have our input in, we're going to hit generate. And I don't know if you can see it, but the concept is generated, and we're going to up the batch size in order to get a bunch of different versions. And this is where computing is really important, because you need lots of GPUs and like a good working workstation in order to make this happen. When we showed this at IBC, we were showing it on a Dell 7960, with 4 NVIDIA RTX 6000 Ada GPUs in it. So you can see that we have, it was using all of those resources and to generate these as quickly as possible. And so we have our results here, and it looks more like an office space versus a TV studio. So what we're going to do is we're going to input an image of a TV studio into ControlNet, and we're going to lock the concepts that we've already developed to this image of a TV studio to get both a TV studio in the look and feel that we need. And we're going to hit generate again. And so you're going to see that there is just so much exploration in this process. It's not really a one and done. You are testing out different ways of doing things, and now we are getting different options of this virtual TV studio, and it now looks like a TV studio with the look and feel that we want. And so we select the one that we want to proceed with, and we see that it's not exactly what we want it to be, so we do a little bit more to it. We fine-tune our prompt. We add a few more words to it, so you're going to see that happening here. We want a map of the world in the background, and then we're going to hit generate again, and we're going to get the result that we are going to then use as the remainder of our workflow. And so that's really important, is that this is not the entire workflow. This is just the ideation process of the workflow. And you can see that we generated these concepts really quickly. So imagine that you're with a client or with a director and you're going through different ideas. You can generate them super fast, and then the one that is the one to pursue is the one you can select and move forward with. This is another demo. This one, we're going to create a background for virtual production using Stable Diffusion again. Here, we're going to do a slightly different process. We're going to put in our input of things we want to see. We have this kind of we want to have this very desert-like background. We're going to have, dead trees is what's being written next. And we're also going to use negative prompts. So this is something we didn't do before. We're going to do it this time. These are the things we do not want to see. So we don't want it to be anything that's gross. We don't want it to have a particular look that we don't want it to have, or a particular style we don't want it to have. So we're going to put all of that into our negative prompt. And again, this comes down to really exploration, right? Like if you're a creative, you're going to be exploring the different things that you do want to see and you don't want to see. So we're going to hit generate. Again, we're going to up the batch size. This is where accelerated computing comes in again. And we're going to generate these really, really quickly. And we're going to get a few styles coming in.
It just gives you so many options.
Totally.
Because if you work with clients like I do, and we love our clients, they always want more options.
Like, show it to me in this way. What might it look like with a sunset? Totally. So we can add some of those into the prompts. And then here what we're going to do is we're going to select one of the images that have been generated and use that as the image we're going to put into ControlNet as our input image. And this might be because perhaps your director's like, I really like this one. I want to see it with different colored trees. I want to see it with a different sky. I want to see different variations of it, essentially. And so that's what we've done, and we're going to hit generate again. And this is how we're going to get lots of different options for that one image to then proceed on and to incorporate into the rest of the creative process.
Right. And also I noticed that you have probably put into the prompt the style of the drawing, right? So there's line drawings and there's paint styles and there's realistic and all of that.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can get as fine-tuned, haha, pun intended, as you want while you give the prompt to the model. Yeah. Right.
So obviously it's a time saver, but also I think from my perspective as a creative director, it gives you a little more flexibility and time back to think about the creative side instead of spending a lot of time on the kind of grinding generation side.
Exactly. So, and that's really the key for some of the best AI tools is that they're automating a lot of these tasks that can be automated, giving time back to either do more, take on more projects, or do the thing that you love and do more of that, or to, just get some time back, So there are lots of different benefits to utilizing tools like this.
Now, I'm going to bring Carole into this conversation in a minute, but I want to mention that Kimberly is handing out cards, I think, because we've decided that not everybody has business cards, but we do have giveaways, and we don't want you to miss out on a giveaway. So if she has not handed you a card with a number on it or something, wave to Kimberly, who is, by the way, an amazing casting director. So she doesn't usually play Carol Merrill, but she's going to help me do these giveaways today. So raise your hand and she will give you a card so that you can put it in the bucket and win some really cool stuff from our fabulous sponsors. So let me switch over to you, Carole, and ask you about how quickly new content can be incorporated. You're doing these amazing systems at Newsbridge. So if you want to walk us through your demo and then maybe explain from your perspective how AI is sort of giving news directors more options, news producers more options with all of the incredible volumes of content that they're dealing with.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe before we play,
Yes.
can we have 1 minute so I put the context
Yes,
on the demo? So for this demo, what we really want to show is how fast and easy is to access, index the content. Being live, being a file is really the accessibility and the indexing. For the sake of this demo, I'm going to play the journalist. So my goal here is that I have to make a package about the latest wildfire in Hawaii. And more than that, I actually want to cover the climate change as well. And I need to make a few-minute package within a few minutes myself. So I want to go fast, but I want to be relevant in what I'm going to show to that. And now we can press play. So that's the context. So here is our interface. So you really land directly into your content. What I will be looking for is Josh Green, the governor of Hawaii, because I want to know what he's been doing for Hawaii during the wildfires, how he's been leading the search. So if I take this first media here, you can see every time he's mentioned or appearing. But what is interesting for me, because I need to go fast, is I want to read the summary. So I'm not going to watch hours of video. I want to land on the summary, and at a glance, I know, is it relevant or not for me? And from here, what I will be looking at is really the scene description. I want to know, was it a medium, a close shot? Where can I find the actual firefighter looking for victims or anybody? So from here, as you can see on the screen, straight away, I can see the dog looking for victim with firefighters. So it didn't take me even a minute to already find my illustration. So I have my illustration, and what I want now is, okay, let's find what is Josh Green has to say about that. What kind of relevant quote I can have an impact on my viewers. Here you see the transcripts, and what we would do is really, I would just select the sentence, the quote that makes sense for me. Within a second, again, I have the quote from Josh Green, and I have my illustration. From here, I'm like, okay, I want more content from Hawaii, but not from the most recent events. I want to prove that it has been done before, it existed before those kind of events. So here on the timeline, I'm going to look at my library, and I will see that in the 90s, there were those kind of events happening already, proving my point. So here, if I click on this media, straight away, I will have access to some tsunami happening in Hawaii in the 90s. So again, within seconds, my library displayed some new footage that I can use for this package. Same here, transcript, I can pick any quote that would be relevant and that will cut the video.
I'm just looking at this like with such happiness as a producer who loves to pull quotes.
Thank you. It's a voiceover, so I'm still
Exactly.
So from here, okay, I'm covered on Hawaii. That's recent. Okay, I want to make a point, climate change. So I want to search for COP27 latest event. So all the leaders were meeting there. Mm-hmm. And all leaders, well, they speak different languages. And that's why we developed a Newsbridge, is that we will have each speaker their own languages displayed in a transcript. That said, maybe I don't speak Spanish or any other language, so I can just translate it in English. And as a journalist, straight away, I can pick which leader I want to quote from, and straight away again, I'm just going to cut this special moment from this leader and add it to my card. So currently I have illustration, I have quotes from the past from now, the present about climate change. And the best is, I know I have a Shell climate protest somewhere. I don't know where, it's somewhere there. I remember I made it, or I've seen it. And straight away, when I plain text search it, I will have the right footage, the right moment where on the banner or on this, I will see Shell protest. And that's really when we use OCR, we read what's happening in the image, in the video. I have, again, a great illustration that this fight has been doing for a long time already. And I can see I have a close-up shot of this woman fighting against Shell from the past. And I didn't know where it was when it was shot. Just I knew Shell protest. From here, I'm just exporting everything I've gathered. So I've gathered my illustration, my content, and I'm deciding I want social media, I want to send it to further editing, or I want to download it. But what I have really options to just continue my work. So what I've done here is that within 4 minutes, I have already gathered everything I needed to make a package. Thank you.
The angels are singing. I mean, that's just unbelievably fabulous.
No.
Really fabulous. I'm so excited.
I was just going to finish on that because it's really 1 minute is how we do that, because this is the wow effect. That's what really people will do and use on daily basis. What we have generated with is MXT1, is our own patent technology. So we're really mixing computer vision, face recognition, landmark recognition, shot detection. Even OCR, what we have seen is reading what's happening on the video, and even logo detection. Then we mix it with speech processing, everything relating to transcription, translation, speaker detection. And really the output of this, what we have done here is we have this generative AI that will create a media summary and a scene description. So it's really editorialized and the best for everybody to work with on a daily basis.
It's just amazing and fantastic. And, I can see how quickly that's going to move for people because, it's not that long ago that people were just scrubbing through footage to find things. I hate to say it, but there was a lot of scrubbing. And I've been preaching transcript workflow since the beginning of time, and people would look at me cross-eyed, and now it's finally back, like text-based searches, because obviously a lot of organizations were still filing things under the date that it was shot, right? Because that's the metadata that's automatically captured by the camera or what have you. But that's really useless unless you happen to be, completely remember every shot you ever shot or whatever, and that's just useless. So it's much better to be thematic, and then reading the images is amazing, really fantastic.
Absolutely.
I'm just thrilled with that, and I'm sure that a lot of news producers trying to cover what's going on in the Middle East right now and have to move so fast and pivot in different languages also.
Yes, the languages one is really interesting to not be stopped by any languages and go always faster.
Unbelievable. So one question that comes up all the time about AI, I did slightly allude to the dark side, is AI going to take my job? And one thing I'm hearing from both of you is how AI is supporting jobs, making jobs more interesting, maybe focusing more on the creative and putting together the story or the images rather than where can I find this or how long is it going to take me to make this. Sepi, do you want to elaborate on your thoughts with where we are there?
Sure, yeah. So on the one hand, as you saw for both of the demos that we showed, AI is really just a part of your workflow. It's a tool that you can use to accelerate what you already do. And it can kind of, in a way, also be your collaborator, your assistant that helps you find the shots that you need and the ones that you're looking for. There's also, this idea that there are so many different companies that are popping up that are building AI solutions. And so there are whole markets and whole economies that are being built around this advancement. And this isn't new or unique to AI. This happens with any technological advancement. Companies sort of emerge that are offering solutions that are based on it, and then whole economies then are built around that. And we saw a really great example of that in VFX as well. It's a technological advancement, and now millions of people have jobs in VFX. I think that, just thinking about that question a little bit more, the much bigger risk comes in not exploring AI. So, if you're a creative and you're not, at the minimum, exploring the different AI tools that you can be using as part of your process and your workflow, Or if you're a developer and you're not exploring the kinds of APIs you can incorporate into your product to make them AI enabled, or you're a business executive and you don't have an AI strategy in place for your business, I think that's a significantly bigger risk because your competition is doing it. That's why we have so many AI solutions there. There's interest there and people are exploring it, and I think that we all need to do that.
Carole, anything to add to that?
Well, I completely agree with what you just said. On my side, I will add on our side what we think really is that it already exists. There is an impact of AI on jobs now, and it doesn't stop. It continues in the future. That said, it's not to look at it as a threat. At Newsbridge, we really don't believe in if it's not supervised. So if AI is not supervised, it cannot work. So we believe if you supervise the AI, it's always a great tool to work with. That's why when we developed the technology, the AI technology, we also developed a platform where actually any content provider or designer can connect and approve anything happening or supervise the AI. So it's always symbiosis between users and the AI. It's not decorrelated. So this is why when you have a platform, you will add a human touch, you will enrich the metadata. Whatever is created, you always have an eye on it. So it doesn't go against each other. Mm-hmm. That's really the part that we preach for. And as well, no human can actually index 20 hours per content per day. That's a reality. So it's about the time and how fast it can be. Right. So we should not look at it as a problem, but really more a solution to go faster and help any human remove any time-wasting task of a daily basis.
So I will never again have to search for two blonde women shaking hands. That's not identified.
Except if you literally type it, but no, normally it should be fine.
So could we put the Gals in Gear last frame of the video back up with our logo? Guys on the Tech Riser, thank you. That's my fault. Thank you very much. So I just want to wrap up by saying that, first of all, if you walked in late and you didn't get a little slip of paper, we're going to just do some really fun giveaways in a second. So make sure you see the lady with the hat over there, Kimberly from Gals and Gear, who's going to make sure you're eligible for our giveaways. And I just want to mention to folks that one of the things we are really focused on that both of you have mentioned is we are going to have to keep teaching ourselves skills. We are in a very fast-moving industry. It's never been faster moving than it ever has been. And at Gals and Gear, we're very focused on making sure that women specifically are reskilling and upskilling all the time so that they stay in our industry. Because the fact is that we are having a little bit of a problem that's sort of, it's a little ugly, but it's called like the leaky pipeline, where you sort of lose your potential leaders because they end up going to other industries. Somehow we're not holding on to them in this industry, and Gals and Gear has set our sights on changing that. So we did roll out our Techquity Hub, which is a virtual hub where we have Techquity Tuesday meetups every month with a technical or career-related topic. We have skill links from many companies like Chiron, who I see sitting here, Carole, and many of our other partners like the Olympics Broadcast Service have jobs links on there. So we're really trying to build a one-stop shop for women, and especially women of color, who we don't have enough of in this industry, to continue to upskill, reskill. AI is going to be a big part of that. So please encourage anybody that you know who's either young and in the beginning of their career, or even people who've been here for a while. We all need to increase our skills. And so I just want to thank again our sponsors, Dell and NVIDIA and Newsbridge, for helping us host this happy hour, many other networking events, and we hope that you'll get a giveaway with their names as a reminder of how fabulous these companies are. So thank you very much.
Thanks
For being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.